to take my sugar that's nice and clean, and I'm going to pour that right into the center. And you're going to see, and I'll get out of the way here, you're going to see that this displaces the water. And the water kind of rises up. Alright? So you can see that the water has come up to the side and we don't have any sugar on the side at all. Now we're going to turn this on. And we're going to get a nice high heat going here. Okay. The object is trying to get this cooked as quickly as possible without scorching it or anything like that, and we won't have that issue because we have an induction burner. We're going to go ahead and stir this now, and because my water has been displaced. Now, here's the ratio for sugar, and then the acid is a little bit different. But if we're going to make that sugar solution or any sugar cooking solution, it's basically 100% sugar, 50% water, and 20%.
Whoa, what's going on the bottom there?
It's probably got some water on it. Anytime it goes like this, that's the water. So you get water on there, it kind of interferes with the magnetic process.
20% what?
100% sugar, 50% water, 20% glucose or corn syrup. Now, you can see that this sugar right here already has impurities in it. I have some pieces on the top there. So when you're doing your sugar, sift it out, work out of the one clean bag, don't take it out of the bin, because we might have some flour or whatever else might have got thrown in there. Because you know, you can see students sometimes they put stuff in where they don't need to now, or shouldn't. So what I want to do here now is stir as much as possible, because I want to dissolve all of these sugar crystals as quickly as possible to prevent crystallization. When I'm stirring it now, I will help to prevent crystallization. If I stir it afterwards, then I'll collide those sugar molecules, if you will, and that will actually enhance crystallization after it boils. So before it boils, stir. After it boils, stop stirring.
Chef, the ratio that you gave is that for all fondant, basically?
Basically, it's all for all like cooked sugar, okay?
All cooked sugar.
The only time it's going to change a little bit is when we get into some specialty things that I'm going to talk about, like rock sugar, okay? That's a little bit different. Isomalt is different. But for pulled or blown sugar, then the acid changes, and then, or cash sugar. It's all the same ratio as far as like sugar, water, and glucose, okay? And you'll see that.
Chef, is glucose expensive?
No, it's not that expensive at all. And glucose comes from anything. You can get corn glucose, corn syrup. You know, basically you can get, you know, wheat or whatever, potato. Now, that's a good question. And now I'm going to start. You're going to kind of see here, it's going to begin. You're going to see some impurities kind of start coming to the surface. But the glucose that you want, if anybody knows when you go to your place to buy it, okay, and some places don't even know the difference. But wheat glucose, and you're going to see here, here's my tea strainer. I really don't have any crystals, but if I did, this is where I would wash it off, okay, and my stuff started to boil. Chef Bush likes to do the impurities, you know, while it's boiling, stuff like that, and, you know, we agree to disagree. I had this, and I'm talking, and otherwise it got away from me. I want to take the impurities off. I'm going to turn this down. I like to get the impurities before it boils, because, and this is what I've been taught, and this is what I learned, is that once it boils, and this went so quickly, which is good, it just went so quickly that I was talking, the impurities were on the surface, and I didn't get a chance to wash it off. But when you do it, you're going to take it, and you're going to wash off your impurities with your tea strainer, and you have two opportunities. One, while just before it boils, and then two, right after you put your glucose in there. So I'm going to take my glucose.
What's the purpose of keeping the spoon in the cold water?
There was no purpose. I'm just, it's going to get full of sugar here in a minute, and rather than sitting on a table and get it all gooped up.
Groundbreaking theory.
I just didn't know if it was for
No.
any specific.
There was no,
Nope.
but once it gets the sugar on there, you know that,
Yeah.
like right now, if I left this on there, I'd be being cussed out by Table One saying, chef left it, whatever, spoon with all kinds of gunk on it.
We don't curse at table one, chef.
All right, yeah. Okay, now,
Chef, those two opportunities, those were to prevent crystallization?
prevent crystallization, impurity. So I took a little bit of this warm syrup and I'm putting it in the bowl just to try to get this amount of glucose out of here. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so, and then, and you guys want to pay attention to what you're doing here. Don't do what chef does. Do what he says. When you get it, you'll have an opportunity to actually take those impurities off of there. So you take this, all right, and then I'm going to turn it up again. Now, I want to put in this doesn't really matter as far as, I'm going to take some of this cold water here, and I'm going to actually mix it in with my cream of tartar. Now, in this method, I want my cream of tartar in there early because I want it to activate and start inverting the sugar, and it takes longer with cream of tartar than it does tartaric acid. That's a liquid already. That's a different procedure, and I'll explain that when we do the demo on Monday, because we will do another demo.
Can't get good anymore.
And I'm going to go ahead and add the cream of tartar early now, okay? Because I do want to invert this sugar somewhat, okay? Again, if there was any syrup on the side or whatever, I'll go ahead and get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up now.
So you wanted this all done before the boil?
No, I mean, my cream of tartar could have gone in there in the beginning, that's fine, but I don't put in my cream of tartar until I actually de-scum, like right before it starts to boil, then I put it in there. Because we're not anywhere near where we need to be. So I'm going to turn this up quite a bit, probably as high as it'll go. All right. Yep. Chef keeps not turning it off here. Yep. 100% power. I got it on 400. Because now I want to boil this as quickly as possible. I'm not going to stir anymore. I'm going to look to see if there's any crystals. I really don't have any crystals. I'm just going to wash that pot down. We don't want to continue to wash because we're going to add more water to it. So if there's no crystals, don't wash. Because we want to get rid of that sugar, that water that's in there. The more I boil it, the more of the concentration, and you'll see in your little handout in the next PowerPoint coming, you'll see that in sugar solution that the water is going to be gone at 320 degrees, okay? And after we take it farther, what's the temperature of caramel?
323.
It's actually 338, okay, and above. So 338 and above, that's when it's going to start to caramelize, and you'll see that brown color and things like that.
All water gone at 320.
320, yeah. And you'll see that. That's not going to be on the first quiz. You'll see it in the next PowerPoint, so you can look at it there. I'm just going to set this aside. Now, rule of thumb. When we're putting in our colors, we would like to put those in near the end of the cooking process. The lighter the color, more towards the end of the cooking that we want to put it in there. Maybe 280, maybe 285, something like that. If they're really dark, it's really not going to affect the sugar that much. And because this one has a whole lot of water in it, because I did it, and this is a nice deep color, I'm going to add it right now. Because it's going to stay pretty dark color to begin with. And I really want to get rid of that water and boil it out of there. When you do it, put a small amount of water, and then especially in a light color, put it near at the end. White, almost put it at the end of the cooking entirely. That way it'll stay a whole lot more pure rather than coloring up, because we're going to start to get a touch of color in our sugar. Isomalt I'm going to talk about, but that's a little different temperatures and things like that. We're going to do some isomalt demos so you can see that. So right now, I'm cooking this highest heat possible. I'm not stirring. I have no crystals, but if I did, I would go ahead and wash it down, get rid of it. And we really want this to cook quickly, get it done as fast as we can, and get it over with. Now, in this method, my cream of tartar is in here early on in the beginning, okay? So once you have your glucose in there, you can put your cream of tartar, and then we're going to go ahead and have that cooking so it has a chance to dissolve. and invert that sugar somewhat. When we use the acid, which is in that dropper in that little container up there, if you want to bring it out, and we're going to actually make some in class so you can see that. See the little eyedropper thing there? Yeah, little pipette. This is the tartaric acid, okay? This has already been mixed up, equal parts water by weight to the tartaric acid. It's Weinstein. It's a byproduct from the wine industry. We drop this in, and for our recipe, if we used 1,000 grams of sugar, 500 grams of water, 200 grams of glucose, we would use 8 to 10 drops of this, depending on what we were creating. So if we had real delicate pieces, you know, maybe ribbons, maybe we'd use 10 drops. You kind of have to play with that, but 8 to 10 drops is the kind of rule to go by. And you can kind of see when you do that. This, we want to put in at between 280, 285, right around there. If we put it in too soon, it will invert too much sugar and it'll make it too sticky. So in other words, it'll never set. And not to confuse you, but we have a recipe that we're going to do. We're going to use our cooked sugar solution or cook this, and we're going to put in 1 to 2 drops of acid because we want to pull it some, but we still want a structure to it. I'm going to say this, and I'll keep repeating this. Anything that is a base, or a foot, or a support, or cast piece will be made with no acid. The acid is for sugar that is being pulled or blown only. Be careful with this color because if this is spattering and gets on your coat, it takes a little while to get it out. So,
Chef,
All right.
what color, if you don't add color, will it be, will it turn to?
and I'm going to show you that
slight-
demo,
Okay.
not with this one, but you can pull it and it'll be just off-white. I'll pull enough air into it, make it white. You're going to see that this looks pretty dark. When I pull it, it's going to become lighter. So what you're going to look for in here, and yes, you can put your thermometer in here, but there's no need to put it in right away. When you taught your cakes, were you taught buttercream, softball stage, yes? So 238, 243. So what did you look for if you didn't have your thermometer in there? Anything?
You could get a glass of cold water and drop it in there.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead. You can drop it in there. I'm going to do the test here. If I didn't have a thermometer, I'm going to get my thermometer. But I know what I look for is what I call a lazy bubble. In other words, the bubbles are bigger, all right, and they're going to move a whole lot slower than they were when they initially boiled. So what you can do is you can take your hand here and some nice ice water, okay?
Oh, God.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
And then you can take this. Now we're just coming past the softball stage, but you can see we're right there. All right, and you can just kind of tell that that's where I'm at because I have a nice ball. I'm actually getting in because I was talking a little bit. We're getting into the firm ball stage right now. Okay, so
What do you want it to be?
well, this is I'm just showing you, but you can kind of look. If you were doing buttercream, you can kind of tell when that's ready to go. You don't have to have your thermometer, but you can kind of tell because the bubbles they slow down and they're bigger. Okay. Now, as you get into it and it goes a little bit farther, and it's going to go faster. Once it goes past the boiling point, your sugar will go very, very quickly. So once it goes past that once it gets into the 220s, 230s, it'll go very, very quickly, and it'll start going from your soft ball to your firm ball and everything else very, very fast. Now we're getting into, it's a firm, okay?
Do you want it to be firm?
No, we're going to actually take this. This is our temperature right there. We're going to take it to 310. I'm just showing you what to kind of look for. Okay? All right, I'm going to put that right there. Now, we're going to have water. And could I have this now in a bigger bowl, if you will? The next side. This is perfect right here. This will work. This will work. And then I'm going to show you how to shock it. Now, this one, we shock. There are going to be recipes that we don't shock. Some that we do, so you have to kind of keep track when we're at these tables doing demos. I will do a demo on every sugar cooking technique that there is as far as like what we take it to, so you'll see all of those.
Chef, what's the firm ball temperatures again?
On the firm, it's going to go into the 250s, and then as we get into the hard crack that goes higher, there's actually that handout I gave you gives every one of those.
I'm gonna use mine now.
You'll see it. The temperatures that I'm going to ask you for is if I give you a temperature and ice malt, I'm gonna ask you for the temperature difference between casting on a quiz, but more importantly, so you know, pulling and blowing 310, casting 315 to 320. Isomalt is different. Isomalt's gonna be 340 to 360. All right, so we'll see what we're at here. So right now, we're at 280, 290. We're very, very close. Chef can kind of tell when it's ready just by how it moves. Now when I put it in here, I ease the top to the front. Just don't send it down there really, really fast. Okay, and we don't want to leave it in there too long either. By the way, if anybody's interested and has the means, that's called a ThermoPen. It's only about $100, a little bit less than that, I think.
Oh my
Well, okay, sorry. They make
Poor
them-
college students.
Well, I know. Well, they make thermometers that are $300 some, so, you know. All right.
What a bargain.
So now, I'm going to ask you if you would just take this away. You know, surface is hot, so just be careful.
So you just took it to the thermal stage?
No, 310. 310. 310. That's on that recipe right there. So that recipe, this is for pulling and blowing. Now, if you didn't have a Silpat, we could use a marble. We're right out of time. This is perfect. See, I just want to teach laid back classes.
I know, I like that.
It's nice, it's relaxing.
So, but anyways, a ThermoPen, and what's nice about it is very, very accurate and very quick. So it actually senses it has warm sugar on the end. That's why it's kind of taking a little time to cool down. But it goes very fast. You don't have to wait. On your thermometers that you have, what I recommend is, because they're the little probe thermometers that you have like this, take this spoon, stick it in there, and hold it like that. That way you're not going to drop it in there, and also you don't have to have your hand over the hot pot or whatever. So very, it's a common sense thing, but you'd be surprised that.
None of us thought of it.
Yeah.
None of us
But yeah,
have that.
but it protects your thermometer. You're not going to lose it, and then whatever. So
Should we
you
get
have
that
this.
there so we can take a picture of it?
Sure, absolutely. There you go.
Demo.
Demo. So yeah, that would be good. And then this way you can kind of look, it shields it, you know, those kind of things, and you can kind of hold it in. Now remember that to check your sugar, check in a couple different spots. If you hold your thermometer right to the bottom, that pan is going to be a whole lot hotter than if you're going to the middle of the sugar solution, especially, you know, depending on how much you have in the pot. So I've shot this. I've made sure that I wiped off the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this out. Now to cook these, to clean these pots, easiest thing to do is put water in it, put it right back on there, and just boil it out. Don't try to scrub it or anything like that. And one thing I'm going to ask is, don't dirty a whole bunch of pots and then wait to clean them up at the end. Start cleaning them as you go. Okay? Another thing, when you put this in here, don't leave it in too long, because it cools off the bottom so much, a lot of your sugar will be in there. Now there's still some left on the bottom, and if I took it over on that induction burner, I could warm this up and get the rest of it out of here. So you can get quite a bit out of there.
Now, if we're doing, say, like, for the underwater, we all want blue, can we make a big pot and, like, split it between us? Or
Well, here's the problem. As you learn how to do different techniques, everyone is going to be different as
Okay.
far as what you're going
what
to do.
you're going for?
So yeah, what you will have is when we do the sugar, and that'll be the first thing that we do on Monday, right after the quiz day. What we'll do is we're going to cook the sugar solution. That sugar solution is not going to be colored, and it's going to be cooked at 230. So all you do is ladle out that sugar solution into your pot, and you work from that big gigantic pot. Because what we're going to do is each table is going to make up some, and then we're going to pour it in that pot. We use that until it runs out, and then you can make some more. If it's close to the end and you're still doing some cast pieces, you can make your own in a little pot or whatever. But that recipe is for a big recipe for the whole class, and that's the one you're going to use. Okay? Now, if I was bringing this out, these are nice. Remember, years ago, they didn't have any of this. They didn't have the silicone molds. They didn't have the Silpats or whatever. So that doesn't mean they didn't do sugar. Sugar's been around for over 100 years. We almost lost the sugar artistry in World War II. You know, it was kind of going by the wayside. but even long time ago, you know, they were doing grand pastiche pieces and things like that. But there was kind of a falling out where, you know, that nobody was doing it. It was kind of considered very, you know, fussy, if you will, but, you know, it has a reoccurrence now. Everything is like sugar. You can see it on the Food Network. It's, you know, almost as popular as cupcakes, for God's sakes, or whatever. So. The cupcakes will go away, trust me.
Thank God.
And, you know, it's like, I'm so tired of these stupid cupcakes things or whatever. So, anyway. If you were using this on a marble, what you would do is put down a little bit of peanut oil, a light coating, and the marble would have to be clean with no chocolate and things like that. So the peanut oil is high, it has a high heat, and then you could take your spatula or a putty knife and kind of pull the ends in. This is nice now because it's taken a long time, because if you feel the bench underneath here, it's actually super hot. I'm going to actually move it over here so I can do this so we don't have to wait. And we use the stainless steel.